Okay, here we go. All right, I've done that, and that's done. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Death Star, Blake Kelly, Robbo, Sausage Dog, mate. Kevin Williams, Ubiquitous Gaze, Datsun, Sawyer, Skyline, Robbo again. How you guys doing? So I'll wait till there's more people here. But I'm angry with myself. A little bit angry with myself. I got to move all this stuff here. Before I do it, is it sound okay? Can you hear me? Can you hear? JD Rome is keen for a laugh. Let me start with this. So, as I've said a million times now, and you all should know, I live in Australia now. And slowly, the Aussie terms are working their way into my vocabulary. And like one of the things that stood out to me when I first moved here was the liberal use of the word keen by grown men, like big, hulking, rugby-sized men who would say they're keen to do things. And I just, in my head, I was like, peachy keen. I just hear peachy keen. It just sounds, so antiquated and quaint and girly in a way. But anyway, I say I'm keen all the time. I'm keen to do this live. I am keen right now. You're looking at a almost 44-year-old man that is keen to do things. Anyway, Rob, was it Rob? Yeah, JD Rome. He is keen to laugh. So let's laugh. Keen. Anyway, who is texting me? Don't text me. I should be on, there we go. Do not disturb. That'll show my wife. Wait, it's not working. She seems to have some workaround. Let's turn it off. That's always the best solution. So I posted the Oasis story yesterday. And, we're all getting involved in the fun of Oasis being back. And I thought I would share my Liam Gallagher story as well as the Noel quote, which might be the best quote I've ever had in my life. Like, I did an interview with a guy yesterday, and he was a lovely guy. I think it's called the Joel Martin Mastery Podcast. Lovely guy. But he put so many positive, like it was so positive, and everything he had to say was nice. Like he cherry picked all these really nice reviews of us and stuff. And I'm like, that's not how I remember it exactly. Like I remember there were a few jibes, and that was what we liked. It was funnier when it was sort of an underdog thing. And that quote from Noel, man, is awesome. And so I thought I would post that story, and I did. And here's the thing: I haven't told that story in 10 years. Haven't told it in 10 years, and it probably happened 20 years ago when that happened. And first of all, as I was editing it and as I'm watching it, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? First of all, like, what kind of a Punisher? Where in my mind did I think that I didn't know the room would be the size of a closet. The guy said after party, and I thought it would be a big thing where there would be a bunch of people. I didn't realize it would just be me and like 5 angry Englishmen. But it did happen, and I posted the video, and I hope I'm not starting too soon. I mean, we've got 73 people here. That's fine. 61 people. If I was talking to a room of 61 people, amazing. So if anybody comes later, I'm sorry, I'm talking about it right away. But here's the thing. I posted the video, and then a friend of mine who knows the story told me that I forgot one of the lines. And it's been driving me nuts because it's funny. It's not worth it to take the video down and re-upload or anything like that, but it was just funny that I forgot this line. So I go in the room. I'll just do it right now, and then maybe we can talk about Oasis after or something. But so I go in the room, right? and I'm in there, and I am I'm the door is closed behind me. I'm trapped in this room like an asshole, and I don't know what to say. Like I have no clue. He's here, and he's just getting right in my grill. I've interrupted their party, um, and he was like, I said, I was at the show and all this sort of stuff, and then I was really awkward. It was super awkward, and I didn't know how to get out of it. And I remembered I said to him, "Oh, I think we're playing with you guys at Top of the Pops next month." And he leaned right into my face and he went, "Oh, I can't fucking wait." Oh, God. Oh, he's such a dick. I mean, here's the thing about those guys. Like, it takes a special kind of person to be that level of asshole and still be lovable. Like that is a delicate ballet, Because I mean, can you imagine meeting Liam and him just being like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you, pleasure. We've got some cake over here, and have a seat." It'd be like, Wayne's World when he goes backstage and he meets Alice Cooper, and Alice Cooper is just giving him a history lesson, and they're a bit confused. It wasn't that. It was, the only thing that I regret is that he didn't punch me. I think that that would have been way funnier, and I'm sure I would have gotten over it in a couple days. And time heals all wounds, and 20 years later, that would have been a funny punchline. But anyway, it was an interesting experience. And then we did see him at Top of the Pops. And maybe it was because I did meet him backstage and said we were going that he came and watched us. And people commented, and I'm kicking myself for not mentioning this either. The psychology of the brothers is that if one hates you, the other one has to like you. Like he has to. And I almost feel like there might have been a moment where Liam, went in the bathroom and just looked in the mirror and he was like, let's get this over with. Noel beat him to the punch. He trashed us, so now Liam had to be the one who had to be nice. If Liam trashed us first, like if Noel hadn't made that quote and I went into the dressing room first, Noel would have had to come in. And somehow that just doesn't sit well with me. I don't want Noel to secretly be the nice one. I want them both to be like known for being assholes. And then when you meet Liam, he's actually really cool and funny. But when you meet Noel, he's still just the grumpiest old man of all time. That's what I want. That's what I got. I'll take that. I want that. Oh, God. It's ridiculous. And it's true. At the beginning of the whole thing, I was one of those people who was like, I hate Oasis. I don't like them. They're jerks or what, I was just like, those guys, I don't like those guys. But I never, ever listened to them, ever. I might have heard Supersonic, the first single back in the day. And even that song's not one of my favorite ones. I was like, But it was Derek, to his credit, who was like, dude, you should give it a listen. I'm like, okay, fine. One song. You get one. And and I sat down. It was me and him. We listened to the whole thing. And I was like, this is amazing. And I'm a huge fan. I love Oasis. And then their personality and how abrasive they are, but how funny they are is half the fun. You don't want everybody to just be super nice. It's boring. And anyway, so that's my update to the story that I forgot to mention in the video. Because, man, I mean, okay, I'll get to the comments. I'm just going to start talking. But like another one, here's another one. So another famous person, like they're famous because they're a rock star, but they're also famous for supposedly being a dick, is Elvis Costello, right? We've heard that. We heard Elvis Costello is just an asshole. And we're huge Elvis Costello fans. right? We love him. We don't talk about that enough. We loved Elvis Costello. Massive fans, right? I mean, all of us. And so I remember Derek and I went to his show in Toronto at the same venue, I think. It was the Molson Amphitheater, I think, in Toronto, different night. And we're in the audience. And because in the motivation video, if you watch the Sum 41 motivation video, there's a poster of Elvis Costello on the wall. And we're in the audience, right? And as he's playing the show, he goes, I want to dedicate this next song to my buddy Derek. And me and Derek look at each other and we're like, does he mean you, Derek? How many Dereks are here? Can you spell Derek? Does it have a Y? Because that'll narrow it down. If it's just like Derek, could be any Derek. But he didn't spell it, so we didn't know. And then after the show, we go backstage to meet him, and he is so nice. He was like, hey, did you hear my shout out? We're like, yeah. And then he's like, yeah, I saw the poster in your music video. We were like, that's awesome. Elvis Costello. So not everybody who is supposed to be a jerk really is one. And sometimes people who are supposed to be really nice are jerks. That's the other thing, because you go in with it. And then there's also people who just have bad days. Remember, all these people are people. Normal, well, maybe not normal, but they're regular people. So after 50 years of touring, maybe you don't always want to do the meet and greet. You know what I mean? But anyway, Elvis Costello was really nice too. And I can't remember if there are any other ones that I remember meeting, thinking they were going to be mean, and then actually ended up being great. There are probably other ones, but I can't remember. Oh, somebody mentions Johnny Rotten. Okay, we met Johnny Rotten in Italy. We played a festival in Italy, and Pill was playing, and we wanted to meet him. So Derek and I went and went to go get a photo with him, and he's a bit of a he's pleasant enough and funny, and he's got that British sense of humor. But while we were taking the photo, I can't remember why, but we're standing there, and the person taking the photo couldn't get it to work. So when you're stuck in the pose for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. When you're stuck in that awkward pose and you're posing with Johnny Rotten, you can feel the anger building up inside of him, like his head was about to explode. Like he was just like, God, I hate these guys. I hate the photographer. I hate that camera. Anyway, we got the picture, but that was another one that was pretty funny. Anyway, how you guys doing? That's my fixing of a few points in the story that I forgot. You got any Oasis fans out there? Anybody going to the shows? You guys going to the show? I'm gonna try and get a ticket. I don't know if there's any left. You guys are the only reason why I ever heard of Elvis Costello. Yeah. People always talk about Sum 41's influence with Iron Maiden and Metallica and stuff like that, because obviously we covered that a million times, the whole Pain for Pleasure thing. But there's all these other influences and bands that we loved just as much, but we don't really talk about as much. And Elvis Costello was one of them. You're going to Chicago. That'd be a good show. Somebody told me they're going in Manchester. I mean, that's like the golden ticket right there. I think, if you can get through that experience without, getting a broken nose, it'll be the best night of your life. Or maybe the broken nose will be the cherry on top. Might be the cherry on top. All right, let's back it up. What else do you guys want to talk about here? Okay. But yeah, I became a pretty big fan after that introduction. Because the songs are just so good. Like, they're well-constructed songs, monster choruses. They swell, in anthemic ways that not many songs really do, you know, like they're so massive and we've kind of lost that a bit, don't you think? Like, what's a band right now that writes a chorus as big as um um uh Morning Glory or something like that? Um anyway, what else do we got here? Oh yeah, favorite basement drummer. Hell yeah. So somebody said Liam can be nice, but he's also very blunt. But that's the point. Don't you want that? Don't you want somebody who's nice at times, but also has a little bit of a fire in them and is like a little unhinged? Like that. It's kind of the fun of the whole thing, right? You kind of have to accept that if everybody's nice, you ever hang out with a bunch of nice people, like everybody's just over like at church or something? It's just like, this doesn't feel real. Like this is something's wrong here. I know some of you really nice church people are weird. So just let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? What if this analogy could also be you and Derek and you can move on from everything that happened? I'm still waiting. It's not coming from me. Ah, God. Anyway, whenever he's ready, he can, he knows my phone number. What do you got here? When I was at school, the only indie posers like them. Yeah, okay. I mean, what year are we talking, right? I guess when you're in high school, you can be like, well, this is my identity and this is my clique. And so I can't, like I've told this story before. When Sum 41 was our first band, our previous band, Casper, we started, it was like a Nirvana / Weezer thing. And we started getting into NoFX and we're like, we can't play that because this basement show we're playing, where the only people there are friends of ours, will criticize us for crossing this invisible boundary. We're not punks. We can't play it. So we had to break that band up and start an entirely new band. So I get you're in high school, those guys are posers or whatever. I get it. But then you discover stuff that maybe you overlooked back in the day. Okay, Stephen Fairweather. Thank you. He's the guy, bass player for incredible Canadian band Gob. He's the one who reminded me about the line. Where were you 2 days ago when I was editing the goddamn thing? Oh, God. Yeah, Coheed, they've got some great choruses. I don't like them quite as much, but yeah, big choruses. I'm always very suspicious of people who are always nice. Yeah, I agree. Like, what are you hiding under the niceness? I'm not actually, that's dangerously close to to a cultural thing that happened. What are nice people hiding? What's beneath the nice, right? Like, I want to know there's like a little conflict in behind the scenes, just keep you on your toes. It's a bit more fun. Yeah, okay, Stephen Fairweather, thank you very much. Everybody, Stephen Fairweather reminding me how to tell my own goddamn story. See, I don't remember all the things, right? I just don't remember all the things. What else is it? I think I went to art school in the room next to where you practiced around Queen and Spadina. If that was in 2000, so in Toronto, the intersection Queen and Spadina, right downtown, we were doing pre-production for All Killer No Filler right there with Jerry Finn, and we would go into that. That was, I think, the only time we used that studio, and we'd go in there and work on the songs. And Jerry would sit we would do it by ourselves, and then he would come and then sit in a chair and just listen to stuff and give us, direction and that kind of thing. So if you were there at that time, you heard us developing All Killer No Filler. There you go. Steve-O, I love your haha comedy monologue. How did you come up with that? Maybe more. All right. So around 20... 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there, I tried stand up and it was great. And it was fun. It just didn't work with like, I had 2 children under 3 at the time. And it was just like a lot of late nights and you're driving and you're out until 2 in the morning and then you have to come back and then, get them to daycare and stuff like that. Yeah. So I didn't stick with it, but it was fun. I learned a lot and it was great. And the people that I met and was working with and stuff helped me craft jokes and stories and things and that I use in these videos. So it was fun. I might do more, but I mean, I don't live near a place that I think has a comedy scene. I don't think. So I try and do it in the YouTube videos, I guess, like incorporate a comedic element. And some of the stuff that I do in the videos is ad-libbed. Like at the end of that video I just posted, the definitely maybe tag at the end, I just said because I thought it'd be funny in the moment. But the bucket hat line, I thought of that in the shower and I wrote it down, so it's that kind of thing. So hopefully you guys enjoy the jokes because I like jokes. Am I doing real estate in Australia now? No, I did real estate. Tell me if you guys would want a video like this. I was going to do a video where it might be a bit niche, I suppose, but it's my channel, whatever. I might do a video about what I did after Sum 41 because I've never really talked about it, and then and how I ended up back doing this. Yeah, I did it for a few years. We were restoring houses is what we were doing, so I might get into that because some of them were really cool. So I will do that video maybe next. In my last live video, I talked about a Discord server that I have a friend of mine helped me put together. It's ready. But I got to tell you guys, I have no idea how to use it. And somebody said in my last video, when I said I'm old, it made them laugh. Well, it's because the truth is often funny. I like some of these technologies, like some of them are very straightforward and user-friendly, and I'm like, I can do this. And there's a few that I've encountered that really just make me feel like I'm 2 months away from the retirement home. One of them was setting up the OBS thing. That's like, I'm not smart enough or clever enough or have enough ADHD medication to actually get through that without pulling out what's left of my hair. So I needed help. And then the other one was Discord, because I'm just like, what is this? I don't know what this is, but it's ready. So maybe I'll post it in the YouTube community. I'll do a post on Instagram. And if you guys know how it works, some of you, like, come on down and let's teach me how to. Let's teach this old dog a new trick. All right. Isn't that bad, man? Just stick with it. I don't get it. Thank you. I appreciate that. But why did Sum 41 hate Mexico? I don't hate Mexico. I love Mexico. One of my biggest regrets about after I left the band is that I never went to Mexico with Sum 41. And the reason why is because it kept getting canceled. Like, for one reason or another, the show would get canceled. And so we'd have these tours booked, and then they'd be like, it's not happening. For whatever reason, I don't remember all the reasons, but I never got to go with the band. I've been with my family, and it's awesome. So Steve-O32 and Sum 41. Sum 41 does not hate Mexico. I certainly don't. I mean, we love it. I don't know why anything would have changed after 2013. I don't know what happened. Okay. I get a get out of jail free card, but we don't. We love Mexico. Everybody loves Mexico. Come on, man. That's half of my Instagram feed. If you know, you know. Let's just say I have my weather channel locked in. If you know, you know. All right. I want an empanada. If you know, you know. All right. Yeah. You know, we have a friend because a lot of our friends in California were Mexican or Mexican descent, and they would always call my son Güero. What's up, Güero? And I didn't know what that meant until they told me. And then when it means like Blondie. And then when I learned that, I went back and listened to one of my favorite songs by the Vandals called I Know Huh. And it's about Joe Escalante's wife, Sandra, who is lovely and a good friend of ours. And he uses that word in the song. It's a really funny song. If you don't know I Know Huh by the Vandals and you're familiar with Mexican or SoCal Chicano kind of culture, there's like they talk about quinceañeras and all this stuff. It's really funny. Great, great song. Okay. Good day, Steve. Okay, I'm going to assume I know where Stu Sturvich is from. I'm trying to inspire my partner to start drumming again, but she doesn't have the confidence and is scared of people's judgment. Can you give her a pep talk? I can, sure. I mean, like right now? I can give you a pep talk. You, partner. Hello, partner. Steve-O here. You should just do it. I mean, here's the thing about drumming. Here's the thing about all instruments. And I told my kids this because they're always on Minecraft or whatever. And, they so ask me about instruments. I'm like, it's really fun and worthwhile lifelong pursuit to pick up an instrument and learn how to play it. But here's the thing. It's not a video game. There's no instant gratification. We live in a time in human history where everything is instant gratification. You go on Instagram and you get like a burst of funny reels every 5 seconds. You order something on Amazon. It's there as soon as you finish clicking the button. Like everything is on demand and everything happens fast. But if you want to start playing the drums or the guitar or the piano or the trumpet or whatever, you will suck for a long time, right? That's just the truth of it. And no one likes to hear that. But the other truth of it is that if you stick with it and you do a little bit every day, 5 minutes a day, half an hour a day, whatever you have time with, it compounds, right? And it all starts to build. And in a month, like somebody do the math, 30 minutes a day for a month. Like how many hours is that? It starts to add up. And if you are consistent and don't overdo it, you will get better. So you don't have to put it out there at the very beginning and have people judge you. Like when I got back into drumming after not playing for 7 years, I was in this room. And I was just by myself for 4 years, just tinkering and getting back into it and fixing old problems and trying to learn things I didn't know how to figure out back in the day. And then it wasn't until like a year ago. When did I start posting on Instagram? A year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that I got, to the point where I was like, okay, I can start sharing stuff again. I've told you guys before, I started playing jazz. It's really hard. And I play in a big band and I play in jazz combos now, just local stuff for fun. And I took lessons for 2 years before I was like, okay, I'm ready to now start sucking in front of other people. So this is a long answer to this guy's question, but don't be discouraged. It sucks for a long time for everybody. That's part of it, right? It's like planting music. Becoming a musician is not a race. It's like gardening. You take a seed and you put it in the ground, and then 10 years later there's a tree. And then 30 years later there's a huge tree, right? It's not an overnight thing, but when you see that first sapling pop out, you go, oh my God, that's amazing, right? And it's just this tiny, fragile, little itty bitty thing. But it's those little gradual improvements that help. So That was 5 minutes. So I'm sorry it took so long, but don't be discouraged. Just do it and accept that you're going to suck. That's just the way of it, right? Just keep plugging away consistently. All right, let's move on. To be good is bad at first. That sounds like a line from like a really bitchin' like 70s rock song. That could be a pain for pleasure song. To be good is to be bad first. Damn straight. Hell yeah, I'm going to write that down. Send you the royalty check. All right. Do I have any arthritis from drumming? No, thankfully. But I did have tendonitis, and I fixed that by finally after, a 7-year hiatus and 15, I don't know how many years was I in the band, 20 years in the band. No, it wasn't that long. 15 years in the band where I played with bad technique, developed tendonitis, and don't have it anymore because I fixed my technique. I teach one-on-one drum lessons if you are wanting to fix your technique. I've done a bunch now. I see the exact same problem almost every time. Everyone's like, why can't I play fast? Why can't I play fast? And, they might be like they're set up. Like they might be down here when they're playing the drums, And it's like your arms can't get around the kit fast if they're up here. So like the first thing, set up your drums right, which is the most obvious. I'm going to come up now, which is the most obvious thing, but we don't think about it, right? We don't think. You just sit down, you're like, this is how it should be set up. A guitar, like even a guitar, you have to set up the strings or it's weird. I mean, you buy a digital piano, like I have a Yamaha digital piano. It's just set up for you. Some guy at Yamaha expertly set it up. But a drum kit, you do have to, finagle, right? You got to finagle. So finagle, find the right way to set the kit up for your body. And then there are very simple concepts that are hard to get at first that will help you. And if you can get these, you will be able to play fast without hurting yourself. And that's what I'm teaching, because I don't want people to hurt themselves like I did. And I'm working on a course that'll do that as well. But yeah, in the meantime, if you want a one-on-one to go over that, I don't care what your level is. I'll put a link to my where you can book it. She will love this / hate this. That's what. So the guy whose partner wants to be a drummer. Well, that is. You could put becoming a musician. You will love this / hate this. Like that. That is the quote. That is like a slogan for all musicians everywhere from the beginning of time to the end of time. Oh, God. All right. Where are we at? Yes. All I've ever wanted from life is a full Pain for Pleasure studio album. I'll talk to him about that. Maybe I'll get pleasure on the blower. That sounded so kinkily rude. I'm going to get pleasure on the blower, but I will. Do you know why Happy Live Surprise contains only 5 live videos? Why no full live set like Saki Bombs? Chuck Era was amazing. That's news to me. I didn't know that it only had 5 songs. Maybe the label ran out of money at that point. Around 2004 is when people stopped buying records. So maybe they were like, you know what? We can only afford 5. Pick 5. What else is going on? Okay, where are we going? Are my drums set up for jazz right now? What's the difference? Not necessarily. I have 2 kits. The one's supposed to live there, it's not. This is like my rock setup, even though it's the same amount of drums. These are tuned way lower, and my jazz kit is tuned so high. All right. Worst drum malfunction live. I mean, the worst that's ever happened to me is, here's one. It was not great. When we were about to get, when we were sending out our demo tape and the EPK and we started to get all this attention from record labels back in the day. Very early on, the very first person who came from America to come check us out was this guy, Rob Cavallo. He produced Dookie. He produced American Idiot, which came later, but it's that guy. And he was an executive at Hollywood Records, which is like, it sounds like a fake record company. I'm with Hollywood Records. Doesn't even sound real. Anyway, so he came and he flew to Toronto. He was the first person to come see us, and we didn't have any fans really, other than our friends and people in Ajax. And so we went and we got a show just for him, essentially, at a club in Toronto called the El Macambo, which is a famous club. I don't know if it's still there. Elvis Costello did a great live record there. If you check out Elvis Costello live at the El Macambo, I think the Rolling Stones also did a live record there. So we do the show for him, and it's essentially like an empty room. It's us on stage, and Rob Cavallo is in a chair, just sitting, and he's 6'4", so he's just a huge guy sitting there. Just like, not like a dick. He wanted to watch the show. He was just like, okay, let's see it. He was excited to see it. And we said, okay, listen, this is our one shot. Like, we have to pull all the stops. Let's knock them dead. We had trampoline set up on stage and a basketball net so the guys could play guitar and like bounce off the trampoline and slam dunk. And I had all these fireworks, like spinny things like that you'd light on fire. Like, complete fire hazard, dangerous thing. I could have burned the whole venue down, but we set them up anyway. And then I would light those, and they would spin. And I had sticks sitting in lighter fluid, and I would light those, and I had lighter fluid on my cymbals, and I would hit them, and my cymbals that was what I was intending on doing. We had all this stuff ready, and that's how we did a lot of shows. The first song of the set was a song called Machine Gun off of, it became the first song off of Half Hour Power. It starts with this drum roll, and you hit the bass drum when you hit the snare drum, and the first note, the bass drum pedal broke. So I had to play the whole set without a bass drum. And I'm like, oh my God, cruel fate just, dealt me a disaster. Like, our entire career hinged on a Yamaha pedal chain that broke. And anyway, he didn't care. He thought it was great. He didn't even notice. That's another thing that your girlfriend, or sorry, your partner, I don't know what you call it, the person that we've been talking about, you can make a mistake on stage, and even like a producer who's famous, who's done some of the biggest albums of the world, won't even notice or won't even care, or like the audience doesn't know. As long as you don't completely screw up the ending, you're usually pretty good. All right, let's move on. Who's this guy? I'm me. Who are you? Where are we going here? There's a lot of comments. Maybe I'll go back in time, yeah. Okay, we did that one. Portugal. So where am I going here? Wolf. Yeah. Do I like EDM? No, I don't. And the older I get, the more I don't. When we were kids, we would go to raves and stuff in the 90s, and I think those were fun. They would be in like an abandoned warehouse. Hey, I got a super thanks. Canadian $5, thanks. That's great. That's my first one. Yeah, I'm gonna buy a flat watt. Thank you, sir. I don't really like EDM so much because it's just, and as we go into the sort of AI world, I just think that entire genre will be completely AI'd, because obviously, and then the other one, it's starting to creep into rock too. So what's that? Rick Beato just did that video of a rock band that has all these probably also fake followers. That's a AI thing. So sometimes I just listen to a lot of old music. It wasn't AI in 1942. That's for damn sure. Okay. I feel like I have a friend group being here, sitting alone, drinking on a Wednesday night. Tell me about it. I'm having a coffee. We're all hanging out. Up until I started doing this YouTube channel, I mean, 99% of my social life is hanging out with birds. Like, the amount of times I walk outside and there's maybe 5 magpies, I'm like, so how's your day going? What have you guys been up to? You see the bugs over there? They're looking pretty good today. Like, I'm like, who the hell am I talking to? What happened? So it's nice. Like, even though now I'm talking into a camera, you guys are looking into a cell phone. I mean, somehow there's a connection. There's a connection. Anyway, so where am I going? All right. Do I have any other stories of bands I met? I'll try and think of one off the top of my head. I remember meeting James Hetfield. And, because we met Lars at the MTV icon for Metallica, and we ended up partying with Lars all night. He was another guy that everybody shits on Lars, and he has his moments. But I love Lars. He was hugely influential on my drumming. I think he's awesome. I love all those records. And when we met him, he was cool. He came right up to us. He's like, "Hey, what's up? Thanks for doing the show. I heard you guys like to party. You should come to my hotel room after. We'll party." And so we went and partied with Lars. It was great. And then we started playing these shows in the festival circuit with them. And I remember James Hetfield came up, like he watched one day, like he was on the side of the stage just watching. And he's like a man, like he's like a big biker man. And after the show, he was just like, that was some good fucking drumming, bro. He kind of said the same thing Liam did. And he gave me a fist bump, but his fist is like that. And I was like, thank you. Anyway, that was fun. That was cool. That's, you get the nod from Hetfield, or at least one nod, even a slight nod. I'll take it. I'm taking it. Okay. I was so tempted to book you for a drum lesson. I play bass just to talk, but I think it might be. Well, I mean, we can talk now, right? There is, yeah. I with jazz stuff almost started taking lessons with other musicians, right? Where I was like thinking, why don't I like get a lesson from a jazz piano player and just practice trading and improvising with that person. But then I just joined a local thing, and you do have to start playing with people, right? I mean, I think if you want to get better. Do I like Marky Ramone? What's not to like? I don't know if there's like what's not to like. There's nothing. What else we got here? I think you and Mark Hoppus have a similar vibe. We have similar glasses now. Feel that you would laugh a lot together. I think he's awesome. I think they're hilarious, but we never like clicked. We never. I've talked to Travis more than I've talked to Mark, and Travis doesn't even really talk, but I have, and he, so yeah, I just never really clicked there, but that's okay. I think they're great. Do you watch the live stream of Black Sabbath's final show with Metallica, Slayer, Pantera? I haven't, but I should. I'm gonna watch it. I watched I watched some moments, but I gotta watch the whole thing because I definitely want to watch, obviously, all those bands. And what a time to be alive where you can see it from the comfort of your toilet. You know what I mean? So I'll definitely watch that. Thank you for reminding me. I watched the Oasis set from Cardiff, which was pretty cool. Is Payne's accent based on any Scottish people you know, or are you naturally good at the accent? There are two camps with that one, because I get some people who are like, that's the worst. First of all, it's not even me, right? It's him. So I'm not going to say I can do the accent. I'm just saying his accent. Some Scottish people are like, that's on point. And other Scottish people are like, are you even Scottish? Right? My grandmother was Scottish, but she had a very subtle accent because she lived in Canada for forever, but she still had the Scottish accent. So I don't know. I don't know if it's buyable, but it's up to him. It's up to him, mate. Okay, here's the deal. Greetings from Northern Rivers. I'm actually building a house up there. You should come to my work in Byron and get an Aussie pie. Where is the Aussie pie? I'll be in Byron Bay next week. Yeah. If you want, let's get a pie. I like an Aussie pie. Are people out there outside of Australia familiar with the Aussie pie or the bacon egg roll or the flat white? I mean, that's nice. That's a nice surprise every morning. You go and get a. Who's a better drummer, Tool or Red Hot Chili Peppers? I mean, I think they're both great at the drums. I think Danny Carey is a really special kind of drummer, though. He's very technical. He's got jazz influence. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't really listen to either band. But if there's anything about those two bands I like, it's the drums. Because I'll listen to Danny Carey's drumming all day long, but I'm not necessarily there for the other guys. Slayer was sick. I need to see them live. We saw them live a few times. We've met them a bunch. Carrie King was in what's that video called? The What We're All About video that we did for the Spider-Man movie. He does a cameo, and I think that came about because Rick Rubin produced the song. And we thought, he also produced Slayer, and we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we got Carrie King in there? And he's another guy he's a grump. He was cool, he was nice, but unlike Liam, he's not as funny. Like, he's just, intense. He was cool to us, and it was nice meeting him and stuff, but I don't know if I'd rather be punched by Liam than Carrie King, because I think after Liam punched me, if he did, we could laugh about it afterwards. I think Carrie King would probably just punch me again. But I'm a huge Slayer fan. But I don't listen to them quite as much as I used to. When I was a kid, we really got into them. And they're one of those bands that I don't really listen to anymore. The only time I listen to Slayer is when my 14-year-old son will not wake up for school. So I do the classic dad wake-up routine because I can't physically lift him anymore because he's bigger than me now, which is very sad. But so what I'll do is I go in the room and I turn on the light, and there are 3 songs that I'll play. These are the 3 songs. Because sometimes I've been doing it for so long. He doesn't wake up. It doesn't matter. So I have to keep doing it forever. But the first song is just Eruption by Van Halen on loop for however long it takes for him to wake up. The second song is The Final Countdown, but just the intro on loop. And then the third song is Raining Blood on loop. And those 3. And if he's not getting up, then he's just not going to school that day, I guess. But that's a window into my style of parenting. I'm an idiot. All right, New Zealand pies are better. New Zealander here. And I couldn't stay silent. All right. Yes, it's true. Because if New Zealand pies are so good, you have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the thing about New Zealand pie too is that if you want to save it for later, you just chuck it in the chili bin. Oh God, I love Australian and New Zealand people. They are in my opinion, they're some of the funniest people. Like even when they're not trying to be funny, they're funny. And I'm sure you have very good pies. I haven't been to New Zealand since the band played in Auckland, however many years ago. So I got to go back because what is it, like a 5-hour flight, 3-hour flight? If I'm an Australian citizen, which I am, can I just go there and can I move there? Can I move to New Zealand if I want to and just be like I'm here now? Tell me in the comments. Maybe that's my backup plan for when the apocalypse comes, which it should be any day now. Apocalypse is coming any day now. If Derek would pop up right now unannounced, would you be able to see him? Of course. I mean, here, look, how long do we have to pretend we like? Just come on, man. Like let's move on. You know what I mean? Everybody's welcome in the basement. Kerry King was in the Studio 666 movie. I have not seen that, but it totally sounds like a movie Kerry King would be in. Okay. What else we got going on? Yeah, Mastodon's badass. I listened to some Mastodon. I think they're cool. They got I'm not a huge fan, but I mean, great drummer. Don't know his name. Great drummer, and some cool riffs. Covering Second Chance for Max Headroom in a future video. Several people brought it up in the comments of the last video. That last video didn't get as many views, and I'm starting to think that my striptease wasn't good enough. Anyway, so if you haven't seen that video, check it out. I don't know. I might not do another half-hour power one as my next thing that I do. I might do some non-741 stuff for a minute just to mix it up a little bit. But the goal of the channel is to eventually have a collection of some of my favorite songs online for people who never got to see me play them live. Have I started taking up surfing? I own a Mick Fanning softie. Is that what it's called? I own a Mick Fanning surfboard, and it's so big and wide and fat that I can actually get up. I do go in Byron from time to time. But I like paddleboarding because I'm 44 this month, and that's what we do. Next thing you know, I'll be buying Lycra, and I'll get into cycling. Yeah. Oh, God. All right. Cover of Avenged Sevenfold. Okay. Like I said in my last thing that I'm a huge Rev fan, and that record in particular is so badass. I'll do one. They're hard, and the amount of practice that would have to go into doing something like Blinded in Chains. Because I did an interview with Brooks. If you haven't seen my interview with Brooks, check out that interview with Brooks, who's the current drummer of Avenged. And even he's like, I got to warm up for that. If Brooks is like, this is a tricky one, it's tricky. So maybe I'll do something like Backcountry so that, because here's the thing. Sometimes a song like that would take me, like a really hard one, could take me a month to learn how to do. And then I don't do anything else. So if we can agree on Backcountry or something like that, I can get it out. But if we pick a really, really, really hard one, it's like, how much, there's only so many hours in the day. But I'd love to because I'm a big fan of the Rev, and I'm kind of a late discoverer of the Rev. I didn't pay attention to them at the time, and it wasn't until after I started playing again in 2020 that I discovered that City of Evil record and was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then I started playing it for my kids on the drive to school. So they all know the two of them know that record really well. 80s Canadian bands. I mean, there's a few. There's some rockin' ones. I don't know how. I was more into like like I guess 89. My like number one '80s artist was like Maestro Fresh Wes. '80s Canadian hip hop. All right, Let Your Backbone Slide. If anybody else remembers that one was badass. Bad Country is fine. Thank you. We've made a compromise. Opinions on Sleep Token or Young Blood? I don't know who those people are. Are they people or are they bands? Sleep Token sounds like a Bill Cosby comedy record. And I don't know the other band. But if you guys think I should, I'll check them out. I'll check out Sleep Token. Cover your drink when you go to a Sleep Token show. I did play astronaut Brady Moffat. So here's the thing. For people who are new to the channel, go to the playlists of the old videos. I think astronaut was my second video. So I've already done an entire video where I talk about the history and the forgotten history of the song Astronaut. The song that the runt of the litter. It didn't make it onto Half Hour Power. I do a whole video on that. So if you'd like that and you've been waiting, it's already there. It's there. Okay, that was funny. Oh, God. Bill Cosby comedy album. Oh, God, I'm an idiot. All right. Okay. Do my kids know about Sum 41 in your journey as a drummer? Not really, because I never really talked about it. I think they kind of know now, but because they weren't brought up, like knowing about it, I don't think they care. And because I didn't go to shows and I sort of separated myself from the scene for so long, they weren't privy to those kinds of environments. Like they've never been to a big, like backstage at a big arena show or something like that. And so we would go to, we go to California for Christmas, like last Christmas and the Christmas before we saw Fat Mike. We went to the punk rock museum that we went to his house after and hung out and we're playing pool and pinball and stuff. And then last year we were hanging out with him. So a person who I'm sure many of us were inspired by, he's become a great friend to me and my wife over the years. My kids have met him. They don't know anything about NoFX. They don't even know he's in a band. They just think, oh, it's Fatty. He's funny. I like that guy. And so they don't really know any of that. And in some ways, I kind of am happy that they haven't been brought up so much in that environment. And they just have had a normal childhood, I guess. But they know now, but because they weren't there at the very beginning, they don't care. Because my son's 14. He's like, oh, yeah, okay, right. In Too Deep, great song. My older son's hilarious. So he'll just bust my chops. He'll be like, oh, right, that's the one where you were diving. That's fun. He just makes fun of me. If you're wondering who makes fun of me, it's my 14-year-old son. Do I have any Sum 41 in the punk rock museum? I'm going to call him out right now. I'm calling out Fat Mike right now. So in my We're All to Blame video, and I haven't done a follow-up about this, but I'll do it now. In my We're All to Blame video, I take a drum head, and it's got a set list on it. Because this drum is the only drum, this is the only drum I still own from the Sum 41 days. This Ludwig Black Beauty. And so when I started setting up my drums down here, I needed a new head. And the head that was still on this drum was from the last show I ever played with the band, which was, I think, Kingston, Ontario in 2013. And then the drum just sat in a box for 10 years. I take it out of the box, I take the head off and change it out, and I was just going to throw the head out. And my wife was like, why would you do that, you moron? Someone wants that drum head. And so I did a video, a We're All to Blame video. If you haven't seen that video, I think that was my third video. Go and look back. It's funny. And I talk about how maybe I'll do a giveaway. And everybody was like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. But a lot of people were like, that should go in the punk rock museum. So when I saw Fat Mike this last Christmas, I brought the head. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that Fatty and I recorded some songs together and we were hanging out and yada, yada, yada. After the recording, even he will admit he'd probably had one too many drinks. And he was about to, he wasn't driving, but his fiance, now wife, was going to drive him back to Las Vegas. And I said, before you go, here's that head I was telling you about. I think this belongs in a museum, to quote Indiana Jones. And I gave it to Fat Mike. And I don't know if he was, I don't know what happened to it. It might still be in the back of his Tesla. I should ask him because I sent it off with him. And hopefully it didn't finally end up in the bin. So I'll have to ask him that. Thank you for reminding me because that's what happened to that head. If he lost it, that is also kind of hilarious. And if not, he asked for some gold records because he said there's not a lot in there. And I have a bunch of gold records that I never hang up. In my last video, which I implore you to go watch. Watch them both, but the Oasis one, watch. But the other one, go watch it. I talk about how we received this award to get a plaque. We received an award from our record label at the time to commemorate the sales of nowhere near 50,000 records, certified Canadian copper. That one I'm keeping. I love that one. I'm going to hang that one up because that's hilarious. But, the gold record, fine. I might send the Does This Look Infected one to Fatty for the museum. Tell me if you think that's a good idea. I also have a platinum for All Killer No Filler, which I could send, but even though that one sold more, I like Does This Look Infected better. And my face is on the cover. So you guys tell me which one. Have I ever been introduced by Nardwar? We did, and it wasn't good. It didn't go well. And it wasn't funny, and we didn't even really know who he was, and it wasn't great. Okay. A bit better time than last time, but it's still 2 a.m. I apologize. I know it's late in Poland. This is as early as I can get up. But I did post it on Instagram. So if people saw the link on Instagram and then came here, let me know because that'll help me, learn that I need to do that as well. Do I have any memories of touring with Real Big Fish? I do. Nothing specific other than in general, it was a lot of fun. I'm not a big fan of ska punk. Like we didn't really listen to it when we were kids. We listened to Operation Ivy and Rancid had like a ska influence. No Effects had a ska influence and things like that. But it's like the full-blown ska thing. I don't know if we really got into it. The only ska band for me after all these years is Edna's Goldfish. But touring with Real Big Fish was awesome. Like they're really fun. Like it's fun to watch. It's exciting and it's all poppy and light and funny. They're really funny. They put on a good show. And we toured with them all across North America. And then I think we did all of Europe with them. And I just remember those tours being a lot of fun. Another tour that was fun was with No Use for a Name. Those were classic like tours, man. We had great time with them. Where I don't necessarily remember specific like, oh, this crazy thing happened or that crazy thing happened, but it was like just in general, a really good vibe on the tour. Here's the Castle record reference. It's the vibe. You have to say that every time. It's the law. Okay. All right. I might do a couple more and then I have to pee. Which tour you did is your number one and why? Okay. I think I've said this before, but the number one tour, if I can think back on all of them, the most fun that we maybe ever had was our second tour, because we had some fun tours. Don't get me wrong. They were all really fun. until towards the end, but they were fun. Our first tour, I'm not going to say who it was not so fun. We were still in a van, and the band, who I'm a fan of, they just weren't. Oh, what happened? What was that? Where'd those balloons come from? Did I do that? Anyway, the band was, I'm not going to say who the band is. I almost did because I got distracted. But they weren't they didn't want to hang out. We never met them. It was weird. They were like, meh. But and we were like, oh man, does touring suck now? Like, did we get signed too late for a fun tour? And then we did our next tour, our second tour, which was opening for the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, and Flogging Molly was the support. And that was some of the most hilariously fun times that we had. Like, Dickie Barrett of the Boss Tones is hysterically funny. He is so funny, and we loved him. And all the guys in the band, Joe Gittleman, the bass fiddleman, is it Joe Sorois, the Ladies' Choice? I mean, we even stole that. Joe Sorois, the Ladies' Choice, the drummer of the Boss Tones, is I think it's Joe Sorois, the Ladies' Choice. And my drum tech was Dan Moyes. So we started calling him Dan Moyes, Dan Moyes, the Ladies' Choice. You're Dan Moyes, the Ladies' Choice. And Dickie Barrett heard that, and he goes, Dan Moyes, the second choice. Oh, God. But he was always the Ladies' Choice for me. And then they taught us this gambling game called Threes. Anybody out there know a 5-dice game called Threes? Way better than CeeLo. Way better than CeeLo. And we played Threes forever after that. Every tour after, that was our thing. We would gamble and play Threes. And we would teach other bands. We would meet bands who only knew CeeLo. And we're like, we got a way better game. We've got CeeLo 2.0, 5 dice, okay? Great game. And it was the Boss Tones who taught us that. So we would go on their bus, and we were broke. Like, we didn't have any money at the time, but we would gamble it all away and then have to borrow money from them to gamble it all away again. Like, it was hilariously fun. And the Flogging Molly, I mean, that band was awesome. And that's when they had that first record. I can't remember what it was called. Tell me what's the first Flogging Molly record called with Selfish Man and all those songs? That record's great. And they're just such a tight, fun band. So to tour with them, this is a very long-winded response. Those were that going all the way back to when was that? Maybe after the first Warped Tour. I can't remember, but it was early, and it was so fun. It was so fun. I still have fond memories of that. How did I win my wife? Yeah. I was actually introduced to her by Fat Mike. That's not 100% true. I was at a Pennywise show, which is so romantic. And we're backstage, and my wife was an audio engineer. She was an audio engineer. And yeah, Matt, DWMC, 5 pounds. You, sir, are a top geezer as well. Thank you. That's awesome. So but hold on, but my wife, so she was an audio engineer. She worked at a studio called Total Access in Redondo Beach, and she recorded a bunch of those. Like, she was, at first I think she was second engineer, then she was first engineer on records. She recorded Dio. My wife recorded Dio, and she recorded a bunch of Pennywise records. I think Straight Ahead and another one, so maybe 2. So my wife's oldest friend in America is Fletcher. Which I'm going to do a video about our experience on Warped Tour, because they're doing a 30-year anniversary. Tell me if you want me to do that video, and I'll tell you my Fletcher stories. But I met her at this show backstage, and she just walked by, and I said, hello. That's my pickup line. I'm I'm goddamn Casanova. And then she said, hellar. And I was like, oh, wait, that's an accent. Because, Australians, they can't speak properly. She was like, hellar. And I was like, oh. And so I just stood there. There was a long line of people on a wall. And I could see out of the corner of my eye. And she was like 5 people down. And then I just saw her head turned. And I went, oh, she looked. And then that's when I went up and talked to her. And then she ran away. Too Fat Mike. And I was like, ha, into the perfect trap. And I walk over. And Fatty's like, oh, this is my friend Steve-O. Steve-O, this is Jessie. That's how I met her. And, I'm not the best looking guy in the world. But funny guys can be dangerous. Because one minute we're laughing. And the next minute, I'm living in your basement in Australia. We have 2 kids. Okay. Okay. Oh! Dreamweaver. I think she worked with that guy too. Obviously not on that record, but she worked with that guy. Who is that? She worked with that guy. And Dio. Ronnie James Dio. My wife hung out with Dio and recorded the album. God, what's it called? What's the album called? I can't remember. It's like Mystique or Fantasia or some name like that. Tell me in the comments what that record is. Probably from the late 90s. Late 90s. What is the name of it? Did I ever meet Bowling for Soup? We're practically in the band. On one of on Magica. My wife worked on Magica. The Dio record Magica. How about that? So she's way cooler than me. I mean, I'm just a dork who tricked her, essentially. Anyway, sometimes that's what you got to do. What you got to do, Okay, where are we at here? Where am I at? Sorry, I had one, and then I was going to answer one. Did it get retracted? Did you ever meet Bowling for Soup? Yes. So on one of our earliest tours, when we were still in a van, we went on tour with Bowling for Soup. I can't remember if they were headlining or if we were. Or I don't remember who. Maybe somebody else was headlining. We were both on it, and they're great guys. Like awesome guys. They're funny. They're good Texan fellas. And I think it was our van. I don't think it was theirs. I think it was our van or their van, one or the other. Let's say it was our van. Our van broke down, I think. And their van came and picked us up. And so for a few days while our van was getting fixed, 741 and Bowling for Soup are all crammed into one minivan, I guess, just driving around North America. And so, we toured with them. I love those guys. They're great. They're funny. They're nice. And I just like them. Good fellas, for sure. Okay. Who do you listen to more, Headstones or Billy Talent? I couldn't name a single Headstones song. So I'm going to go with Billy Talent. I think they might have liked the Headstones, if I am remembering something correctly, but I never got into the Headstones, and I couldn't name one song if my life depended on it. But I know Billy Talent, and I think they're great. How long did it take you to learn how to drive in Australia? Okay. This is weird. It took a minute, but that is, okay, this is what happens when you move to a country where you are, where the wheel is on the opposite side. And this has happened to me where there's nothing more emasculating or deflating is if you get into an argument with your wife or something and you're like, I'm leaving. And then you walk to the car and you open the door and you sit down and you slam the door and you realize you're in the passenger seat. Oh, God, that's happened. So eventually I learned that so now I'm on their side, okay? And here's the thing, when I go back to North America, I I drive on the wrong side of the road now. I've switched. I'm completely upside down. And so anyway, okay. So that's how it took a bit, but now I have to unlearn it when I go back over there. So anyway, all right. How long have I been doing this for? Where am I at? Am I, it doesn't say. It's been an hour and a half. Oh boy. All right. I gotta go. I'm going to go. Cause it's getting late for my friend in Poland and she can't be staying up all night, like it's the Aussie time zone thing is a challenge. Quickly, you know what? Maybe I'll do a video about some new bands I like, and there's definitely a couple that are Aussie ones that maybe you could guess that I like. Just pub rock and like just rocking. And then of course there's a ton of old Aussie bands that are awesome. So I'm gonna wrap this one up. Thank you all for watching. I like doing the lives. The lives are fun. And they don't require any editing. So if you guys like the lives, let me know because I'll do more. And I can just riff and stuff, and it's fun. To edit the videos, it's not even time consuming because the edit, it's like you're putting all the little, that you have to download that song in the video. So I love doing those, but having this as another thing I can do is also fun. So if you like these, I'll do more. And I'll try and do one a week, or if you guys think that's too much, I'll do one every fortnight. That's another Aussie word that I use from time to time. I do things fortnightly. So let me know. We've got this Discord server. I'll post it in the community. I'm just gonna do it. If you want to go on the Steve-O32 Discord community, I'm gonna post it in the YouTube community, and then you guys can go on there, and then I have some categories in there like music and whatever. We can edit them after. If you want me to add one, I will add it. If you want me to remove one, I will remove it, and we can build it up together. And while we're doing it, you guys can teach me what it's for. All right. What's the other thing? Drum lessons. If you want a drum lesson, I'm offering those now. I like working on technique. It's the only time I don't take it seriously, but it's the only thing that I kind of take seriously in the sense that I think it's really important. So if you're a drummer and you want to work on your technique, go to, I think I'll put a link in that as well, steve32drums.com, and you can book a lesson. I'm working on a course, punk drumming course. I'll have that out soon too. How to play fast without hurting yourself. And then, what else? Oh, I almost forgot. Okay, this is a bit of a random one, and then I'm going to wrap it up. And then I will put I'll put a post on Instagram about it. I have some song ideas that have been kicking around in my head, and they're kind of like satirical songs, right? They're not show tunes, but they're not show tunes. You know what I mean? So I have the lyrics, I have the melody, I can play the drums, but I'm looking for somebody out there who is a composer or an arranger type of person who could maybe help me like bring them to life and, help me, with that, because I think there's a couple that I think are kind of funny, like South Parky kind of musical thing, but not quite, but, kind of. And if there's anybody out there, or somebody who can create those sounds, yeah, let me know, because I got some ideas, and I think that would be funny. Reach out to Avenged Sevenfold. Yeah, I'll call them and be like, I need some $1 million soundscapes. So I'm looking for someone to collaborate with who might want to, do it with me. Anyway, that's the other thing. So let me know in the I'll hit me up on Instagram and let's see if we can make something happen. And if it's no good, you know, whatever. But it's worth a try because I have two in particular that I think could be funny, and then I have a bunch of real songs that I think are cool, but they're almost too real for now. I think a funny one would be more funny. All right. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this live. Third live. Go and watch the Oasis video if you haven't seen it yet. Watch the beginning of this live if you came in late to hear the line that I forgot to include because I'm an idiot. And then if you haven't watched it yet, go watch the YouTube video where I talk about the time Sum 41 stripped at the CD release party for Half Hour Power because it's a good one. All right, essential early Sum 41 history. All right, that's going to do it for this one. I want to thank you guys all so much. Stephen Fairweather of Gob, thanks for reminding me of the thing I forgot. And I'll do another live next week. We can hang out again and talk about some more stuff. Thanks to the people who made a donation. That's awesome. I'm going to buy a bacon egg roll and a coffee. All right. Thank you, everybody, and I will talk to you soon. Ikaha, I'm out!